Hi guys, it has been a few months since I've last been on here. I last posted my birth vlog with C-section and Enzo being born, and now he's about to turn 4 months and I'm like, need to get back into this. It has been a whole journey, as you can imagine, but here I am. I actually have so many questions that were asked on my Instagram that I've been meaning to answer, so I'm gonna go through them and do my best. So hello, I'm doing great. I hope you are doing well. It's a random Wednesday afternoon and I just thought I'd smash this video out and say hello. I'm of course in Enzo's nursery because I thought that was kind of fitting. He's just woken up from a nap and Dean's watching him, so he had a 1.5 hour nap. Like, how good is that? Did you have a C-section? Congratulations, by the way. Thank you. I did. Daisy was born via C-section. She was breech, so she was really stuck up there, was not turning around. She'd been breech for a long time, actually. I don't know if she was ever around the right way, but I did have a C-section with her, and it was just easier in my head because I knew what the process was to have another C-section. I talked to a few people and they were telling me about rips and things, and I'm just like, I know it's just like the possibility of having things go wrong with a natural birth, or like a vaginal birth, or being cut open having a C-section, something I'm familiar with, so I went with another C-section, and yeah, it is what it is. So second C-section done. How are you? Honestly, did you experience any baby blues? Your little family is gorgeous. Thank you, Amy. I'm doing really good. I think after you have a baby, and I don't know if it's the same if you have one vaginally, but like coming off all those meds after the C-section, wow, it's rough. And like your hormones are going all over the place. You're up, you're down, you're crying every second of the day. It's wild. But at some point you come back to reality and everything kind of like levels out. I stayed in hospital, I think it was 4 nights, or was it 5 nights? I can't remember. I went in on the Tuesday and came home on the Saturday. I was doing great. My parents actually came to stay with us in their caravan because I didn't know what kind of shape I would be in, and my last recovery after the C-section was rough. And this time, even with Daisy, like, we didn't need the help. It was amazing. Like, I felt great and my recovery went really, really well. And now that he's 4 months, like, I mean, if you asked me this like maybe a month ago, my answer would be probably a little bit different because of what's happened. But like now, yeah, things are coming together and we're doing pretty good. How's life with 2? I know there'll be a lot of questions asking about like how Daisy's gone and everything. Has it been hard adjusting to 2? Things like that. So with 2, obviously it's hard to divide your attention between the 2, especially when going from one being the only child to then having a little baby that needs your attention all the time. Like, I mean, at first they just sleep, so it's kind of easy. But then when you have to feed them, they take a long time to feed. He was taking like an hour to feed, and that's like an hour you're tied down kind of thing to feeding them. It was a bit tricky at first, but I will say now that 4 months, like, things are great. Daisy is obsessed with her brother, like actually loves him so much. She loves saying good morning and good night to him. We'll come in his room and he'll be on the mat and she'll like, you know, get all these teddies out, and like, she's just the best big sister. Like, she loves him so much. She wants to show him things and include him, and yeah, like, it's great. But at the start, like, you got to remember, like, the first kid, like the first child, their whole world changes, and I expected it. And whenever anyone asks, it's just like, it's not an easy transition for them. Like, their whole world changes and they're not the #1 priority anymore. So I went into it being very aware that it's going to be hard, and we just need to, you know, as much as we can, make Daisy feel important. She did spend a lot of time at my mum's house. She stayed there when we were in hospital. And then when my mum was trying to help out here, it was a big transition for her. She also started kinder on the day that I had Enzo, which was really tough because she moved into a new room with a new teacher, new rules, new kids, new faces, and that was really rough for her too. So she went through a lot, but come out of it really well. I think as long as you give them grace and you try as much as you can, it's difficult for everyone, but just try and make them feel included and loved and make the time for them, then it's okay. Public versus private experience, is it worth the dollars? I wish that I went private with Daisy. I know that scene. I never thought that I'd say this, but coming from someone who, I guess like I was a high risk pregnancy, like with the gestational diabetes, and then with Daisy being breached the first time, and just I think the things that happened with my first pregnancy, I wish that I went private, and the things that happened at the hospital, like the private experience, like just amazing. Everyone was just amazing. My doctor came in and visited me every morning. I cried. Yeah, just like it was really, really good. We also got like basically room service, which was amazing. You just put in your order for the food and they brought it up for Dean and myself, and there was like no restrictions on him visiting. We're only meant to have 2 visitors at a time, and then Daisy could come in as much as she wanted to, so that was great. So that was the hospital visit, but like the care beforehand, everything that happened, it's just like I'm glad that I went private because it just made it so easy seeing the same doctor every time, or the midwife, and you know, just having things readily available. And I don't know, it was a lot of money though. So, but if I wasn't a high risk pregnancy, like probably just go public, but you don't really know what's going to happen unless you've been pregnant before and have an indication of it. Like, must have newborn products, bottles, dummies. We use the event bottles, but with the Pigeon soft touch teats, they worked best for Daisy, and he actually prefers them as well over the event ones. Yeah, they're the best ones that we've used personally, and they're really affordable as well. You can get them on sale, so they're great. Dummies, I use the Frig dummies. I actually have them for sale on my website Dashmail. These are the Daisy ones, but there's also the rope design. Love these ones, they're amazing, and we use the latex, not the silicone ones, the natural rubber latex. Other things, like I don't even know, honestly, like a play mat for them to lay on, and you need about 10 million of these terry towelings, 10 million like little face washes, and 10 million little bibs, a lot of zippy onesies, and we actually have one of the Linda change mats, the silicone like rubber change mats. We don't have like a normal one. That's amazing, and we just put one of these over the top of it, and then if it gets poo-wee on it, then we just throw that in the wash every couple of days. That's so good. Feeding pillow, that's really handy to just have them sit there and feed them the bottles. And a Glow Dreaming, love my Glow Dreaming, that's so good. Black and white books for them to see because they can't see colors straight up, so we had a few of these. To just like put on, especially if you need to get some stuff done, you just put them on the ground, sit them up, and then they can look at them. And a little activity center thing. Bottle sterilizer with a dryer. We use the one from Onion Care. I think that's how you pronounce it. Amazing, but get one with a dryer, an inbuilt dryer. So good. And also the water warmer from Baby Brezza. Love that. You just put the water from the boiled kettle in and it makes it the perfect temperature. Although I will say Enzo has become a bit high maintenance and won't drink cold or room temperature milk. He has a temperature preference now. I missed your content. Are you feeling a lot better now Enzo is here? Definitely. I think that not everyone, but like, I mean, I myself, you go through this really scary period of, it's scary. The whole pregnancy, anything could go wrong, anything could happen with your baby, and then when they come, then SIDS obviously, but you know, you just worry the whole time that something could be wrong, and it's scary, it's not fun. So yeah, I do feel a lot better that Enzo's here. Also, the struggle with infertility, it just made it really hard for me, especially because I share my life online and I'm not someone to like hide things. Our journey to get Enzo and even the end of Daisy, like I hid because I didn't want to share it anymore. Like I just couldn't emotionally do that again, and it was really hard, and I really did shy away from sharing my life on the internet like I have for the past however many years, because I just wasn't strong enough. And so now I feel like, oh my God, nothing can hold me back. Like, I'm good. The only thing holding me back is the fact that, like, obviously I've got a baby and I can't do anything I want whenever I want it. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can finally move on with my life, if that makes sense. I'm done with infertility. I've closed that chapter. We've got our 2 babies. We are so blessed. We are so lucky. And onwards and upwards kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yes, on that respect as well, I feel absolutely bloody fantastic. How much weight did you gain this pregnancy? I didn't weigh myself at the hospital on the day of my C-section. I didn't look. The nurse looked for me. But I think that I put on maybe like 14 kilos. I'm not back to my pre-pregnancy weight yet. I've got like another 2 kilos to go, but like I gained a little bit more than I did with Daisy. But to be honest, I couldn't do anything. Like, I had a horrible pregnancy and I spent most of it in my bed. It was just, I was so sick all the time. And by the end, I couldn't even walk. Like, I was in so much pain. So I'm actually surprised I didn't put on more. How was your C-section recovery? Any different for the first time? Definitely so much different, so much better. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been, like I say this, but I don't know if it had any effect, but I wasn't breastfeeding or pumping. So I wasn't like tied down to sitting down all the time. Like, I feel like I was a lot more active this time in my recovery because I wasn't on the couch all the time pumping or feeding. And by day 10, I went for my first walk around the block, pushing the pram, and then I just kept going every day, going a bit further, and I made that a priority as well. So much better. Did you ever consider a VBAC? Yeah, I did, but then I just got scared and chickened out. Did having Daisy at home make the hospital stay harder? No, I knew that she was like in safe hands with my mom, and like when you're in the hospital with a newborn, you have like so much going on. Like, you're worrying about their feeds and like so much going on. Like, you're a hot mess anyway, and I knew that she was in safe hands, so that was fine. I love to hear where his name is from. We wanted something different that wasn't everywhere and something that we liked, and boys' names are really hard. If you've named a boy, you know how hard it is. We were just looking at names and that popped up, and then it was like a few months later we still weren't set on something, and I said to Dean, like, the only one that I like that I know that you kind of like is Enzo, and he's like, oh, I really like that name. And we toyed with Lorenzo, but then we liked Enzo better, and it was kind of like, if he was Lorenzo, it sounds a little bit too formal, and we'd probably call him Enzo anyway. So, you know, when people have like the name, but then they call them the nickname, and everyone calls them the nickname, we're like, why not just call them the nickname on their birth certificate? So anyway, and we thought that Enzo Conte sounded good, so he's a quarter Italian. Nothing felt like right though with Daisy. Daisy just felt right to my core, and I kind of said, Dean, you take the lead on this one. Did you have morning sickness? How bad was it? I'm 14 weeks and still struggling. Well, I'm sure you're past it now, but I did have morning sickness. It started around 7 weeks and it went to, I think it was around 13, 14 weeks, I started to feel like a lot better, but then it just turned into other sickness. So colds, flus, gastro, kidney stones, low iron, you name it, I got it. Like, pelvic pain. As soon as something else would finish, I'd get another cold or I'd get something else. How are you going with breastfeeding this time around? I'm assuming there's a lot of breastfeeding journey questions, so I'll just sum up what happened. With Daisy, there were a lot of things that happened. She developed a bottle preference because I was topping her up because I wanted to know how much she was getting because she lost so much weight. And then so I was pumping with her. I did that till about 4 months, but honestly it ruined my mental health. And this time around I was like, okay, I don't want him to develop a bottle preference. I want him to be on my boobs for at least 4 weeks, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna heal my breastfeeding journey, and it's all gonna be good. And then he came out and he had a shallow latch. I know how to breastfeed. I'm quite confident with doing it. And all the nurses were just like looking at me like, oh, let me have a go. And they were having a go. He would latch and then have 2 sucks and fall off. Like he wasn't doing it. Sometimes he had a good feed. I think he had like 2 good feeds, but then afterwards they were always like, okay, like how do you feel about expressing now or pumping now? Like the nurses knew that something like was going on, that it wasn't right. And then I was doing some pumping, and then it got to the stage where he lost weight and something needed to happen. And I kind of said, if that happens, and I thought about it, I'm like, I'm not going to sit on the couch, or I'm not going to sit on the couch or bed and pump all day and night. I'm not going to do it. It ruined my mental health last time. I decided to suppress and just move to formula. In a way, it made it easier for me that he kind of decided that. Like, I know ultimately I made the decision, but I'm just like, well, I was willing to work with him, but like he just couldn't latch properly. He had a shallow latch. Like it is what it is. So yeah, I stopped doing it on day 3 or 4, I can't remember. And I took the pill in the hospital to help with that. And oh my God, they were rock hard for a long time, but my milk didn't properly come in at that stage. So I think that I got it just before it came in. So that was okay. And after a few days being at home, they went down, and yeah, it's just been easy because I haven't been tied to the couch or the bed or feeding him, apart from like feeding him a bottle. And I will say less night sweats this time. And I think because I wasn't breastfeeding. I hope that you're enjoying your new little baby boy. I really am. It's like, I don't know, after having a girl and then having a boy, you're just like, oh, like, you know, the adjusting. But it's just like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But he's just my little dude. Like, I love him. Like, he's just my little boy. Like, yeah, love him. Any differences in having a boy pregnancy and a girl pregnancy craving symptoms? I would say not really. Main difference for me that it was a second pregnancy, I had a lot of pelvic pain, and I got that hormone released at the end of my pregnancy that just like messed with everything, and I was like pulling my groin and everything. It was so painful. I didn't have that with Daisy at all. Yeah, everything was like pretty much the same. Like a lot of Braxton Hicks. I've got it a bit earlier this time, and I found out I have irritable uterus, which means it's like Braxton Hicks on steroids. So I was constantly having contractions like my whole pregnancy. Like, it was not fun. Currently doing ovulation induction. How long did it take for a successful cycle? So with Enzo, we actually started trying to conceive when Daisy was 6 months old, and I think it was around like June, July, and then I was put on medication. I think I had my first like letrozole cycle in September. By the time like my cycle got back and everything, that was 2021, and then I found out I was pregnant June 2023, at the start of June. So it took like about 2 years for him, and then with Daisy it took 2.5 years in total. But I don't know how many medicated cycles I've had each time. Like, I've had so many. I couldn't tell you how many scans I've had with Wanda. I don't know, it's different for everyone, but it took a lot for that to happen. Can you talk about your TTC journey for baby Enzo? Congrats, he's beautiful. Like, it's just a shit time. Like, honestly, there's like a lot that I kept private, even from like friends and family, that like I didn't open up to anyone about. I don't think that I'm ready to share it, but like, it was not fun. I don't know, I'm not really ready. Yeah, maybe like one day, but it's just, I don't really want to go back in that headspace to like tell the story. Congratulations, any more kids on the horizon? Definitely not. We are done. 2 and done. 2's plenty. We are so lucky. Was your baby very active? He was so active, actually. Now come to think of it, I remember saying like Daisy was not this active. He was very, very active. Is there less anxiety with number 2? I have a lot with number 1 after 5 years of TTC. Not sure if you felt similar. I would say I had more anxiety with Enzo, because the first one, like, Daisy was a really good pregnancy, and I had more anxiety with Enzo, to be honest, because I was sick all the time. And I don't know, I just had this like feeling, and it's crazy now that he's here. And I tell him all the time, like, I didn't think you were gonna make it, mate. Like, just something inside of me was just like, I'm not gonna get to bring this baby home. And well, I've got the baby. But like that anxiety is real. First meal after you gave birth, honestly, I was so sick from all the medications. I was throwing up. I had a bit of a toasty, like a ham and cheese toasty. I threw it up. That was my first meal, I think. And it wasn't even, like, I didn't even get to finish the meal. But at the hospital, they had these delicious pavlovas. They were so good. Just this little bowl of like pavlova, like with fruit, and oh, so good, so good. Dean and I really loved it. Someone's asking for any advice with the planned C-section recovery with a toddler. Make sure you have like another adult there with you for a while. Like, I mean, I want to say at least 2 weeks, or 2 weeks once you get home, I would say, just to be sure, because I wasn't picking Daisy up when I was pregnant by the end because I actually physically couldn't. So she knew that I couldn't pick her up. So that kind of made it easier. Definitely have someone around to help all the time. What to pack for hospital? Honestly, I wish that I packed bigger pajamas. For some reason, I just like bought pajamas of my normal size, and I shouldn't have. I should have bought them like 2 sizes bigger. And then pack like nice, comfortable, like just easy flowy dresses to wear during the day. Pack just your usual toiletries, pack some pads, because the hospital don't always provide pads. My hospital didn't provide nappies or wipes. I know each one is different, but make sure you find out if they provide nappies or wipes so you know to pack them. Feeding pillow, pack your little like outfits for like your photos if you want to take them at the hospital, like a little outfit for them, the baby, and any like little like welcome signs or whatever, any blankets that you want to take nice photos with them, AirPods, water bottle. I had this little like light, and I showed it in my previous hospital bag. I think that was really handy because it just provided a little glow in case of turning on the harsh hospital lights. Yeah, that was good too. Pack your pump if you've got one. Want to know all the other names you were considering. You know, one I really liked but didn't use was Houston. I really liked the name Houston, but then I was worried that people were like, Houston, we have a problem. And that kind of plagued my mind. But I think Houston, Huey, I think that is so cute. I really liked it. But yeah, didn't end up using that. Dean really likes the name Darcy, but he loves the name Darcy for a girl or a boy. And I'm like, oh, I just know. And we did toy with using my late granddad's name, Dallas. Yeah, Dean really likes that one, but it just didn't feel right. So there's a few. Best and worst thing about pregnancy. Obviously, the best thing is that you get a baby. The worst thing is the physical and mental toll that it has on you, to sum it up. Have you found it harder going from 0 to 1 kids or 1 to 2? Definitely 0 to 1 kids, because I feel like you're going in blind. Like, you don't know what's going on. You have no idea, whereas the second one, you know to trust your gut and you know what to expect. Okay, I think that there was a lot of questions like, how are you feeling? And I just am so grateful that he's here, and we've made it to 4 months, so yay! I might just like go get him and show you. He looks like Dean, exactly like Dean. This is little Enzo, mini Dean. What do you reckon? Hey, Bubba. You can hear him wheezing a bit. We had to take him to the hospital on Thursday because I could see that he was having trouble breathing. When they're this young, you just don't play around with that, if they need steroids. And I wanted to make sure he didn't have RSV. But he is just delicious. Hello. He looks like he's got red hair from there, but honestly, it's blonde. It's all blonde. He's got a bit of a bald spot, but he is blonde. Little blondie. I was very shocked when he came out being blonde, considering Daisy was all black thick hair. He's getting quite a lot of hair now, but yeah, he is just a little cutie. Hey you. Anyway, that is it for today's video. It's really hard for me to film like content right now, but like a sit down like Q&A or just talking video I can probably do, but like vlogs are just like a little bit hard because my life is a little bit crazy at the moment. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. Sending so much love and mwah from me and Enzo. Okay, bye. We say bye.